Alright guys, your boy might be on vacation for the holidays, but that does not stop the daily FGO content grind. You guys already know, but since I made the GSSR video and I talked about all the future banners that are coming out to FGO on the NA version of the game for 2023, I thought it might also be prudent of me to actually talk about the units that are going to be on the New Year's gacha. So I was like, you know what, let's just throw out a guide for this because I know there's a lot of people that are probably looking forward to someone like Super Orion returning, or wondering if they should summon for someone like Rider Alter or maybe Ilia in preparation for, like, say, Ilia's buff. So we're going to talk about all that and more in today's video. But before we begin, if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for that sweet daily FGO content. Also, I usually stream every weekday starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to try to do that while I'm on vacation, but again, no promises. It is Christmas after all. I might be, oh my goodness, spending time with family. But and all that being said, let's go ahead and run down some of these units. So first and foremost, there's Big Mac Daddy himself. There's Muramasa. I think pretty much 99% of the player base is going to be going Hamtaro on this unit, and I feel like this video is more like, so you pulled Muramasa and you have some spare Saint Cords, but you really don't care about Space Ishtar. Should you summon for any of these other gungliest bungliest characters? Well, that's kind of, I guess, what the video is, because Muramasa really does speak for himself. The man is a superb arts farmer. He's very good when it comes to challenge quests. Thing that makes him good for like CQs is the fact that he can like pierce invincibility. He's got really solid damage. The 50% battery is not only really good when it comes to farming, but it's also really good to help him just spam his NP against the enemies. But something that's good in both farming and challenge quests is the fact that he stacks that arts buff on his NP, which means he's not only going to be doing more damage, but he's also going to be stacking, probably more importantly, the NP gain buff that the arts card buff is giving to his arts card. So like, this guy just does a whole smorgasbord of like really good things. Don't worry, I will put out a Muramasa video at some point in the future, probably like right before the banner goes live, to be honest, and you know, I'll give you a full detailed review of that. But if you're gonna summon on this banner, you're probably going for Muramasa. But let's talk about some of the other guys. So Super Orion is probably the second target you want to hit on this banner. Super Orion himself is still a very strong solo servant, but not for the same reason that, say, like Chi Shi Huang or like maybe Hassan is a really good solo servant, or Ku, right? They're like very tanky guys and they more or less outlast the boss. Super Orion has like decent survivability, right? Like he's got the guts, but his main good, like, I guess, claim to fame for soloing is the fact that he doesn't outlast the boss. He just punches them twice and they die, right? The main gimmick behind Super Orion is just stacking massive amounts of like crit damage, getting like big attack, and also getting this star refund every single turn. And genuinely, or not genuinely, but generally, I mean, he is genuinely strong, but generally, when you get two NPs going with this guy, that's when he becomes unstoppable. He's still like impressive after one NP, but it's like after that second one that you just see this like continental crushing power that this guy has. So he's a really good solo servant in the fact that like he's just going to crush any boss that comes his way. Now, after Super Orion, I would probably say like the third best unit to go for is Ilia, but that's with an asterisk because right now Ilia's not super great. We're still waiting for her 50% battery. Once we get that, Ilia is going to be absolutely phenomenal because then she basically becomes like Sanzo kind of 2.0. Sanzo's still a little bit better for certain situations because she has an 80% battery, but Ilia just becomes like a tactical nuke on demand, right? Because she does more damage than Sanzo, and now she has a 50% battery. Not as good as 80%, but still good enough to get the job done, especially because that 50% battery synergizes with all of the like 50% starting charge CEs and such, right? So like it makes Ilia really strong. After that, it's kind of a toss-up depending on what your box has. If you have Scotty, then Rider Alter is definitely going to be someone you want to consider, because one of the things that she kind of struggles with is consistency, right? It's like firing numerous NPs back to back, but Scotty thankfully helps her out completely with that by just dumping a 50% battery into her, and it just allows her to just go absolutely Hamtaro on enemies, just firing these hard-hitting NPs back to back and doing like massive quick crits. It just makes her like so much better when she's backed by such a strong support. I mean, Scotty's also giving her even more damage by lowering the enemy's defense, but If you don't have Scotty, it's still not bad to get Santa Alter, not Santa Alter, but Rider Alter, Maid Alter, whatever you want to call her, because she's still solid. It's just she's not going to be as good if you're not rocking like the double Scotty, or even in the future like the Ruler Scotty, Caster Scotty combo. They just really help her out a lot. Like she's one of those servants that really benefits from the support that a support gives, right? They really elevate her to another level. Tama Lancer, it's like, I'm one of those guys that, like, I know that Tama Lancer's not like the best servant in the game, but I still try to at least be somewhat of a proponent for her and say that she does have some uses, because at the very least she does have a very strong anti-mail damage mod that can come in handy if your box is a bit weaker. But unfortunately, you're probably at some point going to get a Lancer that's going to do the job better than Tama Lancer. For instance, Melusine is going to be coming out in about 6 months from now, and while she may not have that anti-mail damage mod, for one, Melusine over like the 7 NP she's going to fire in a row is going to do more damage over time than Tama Lancer is going to do, because keep in mind, Tama Lancer doesn't have the same consistency and is not going to be consistently firing NPs every single turn, but Melusine, like in this instance, is just going to be better because she can do that kind of niche gimmick of like looping 7 NPs in a row against any enemy, whereas Tama Lancer is really only shining when it comes to fighting like male bosses. She does get a buff in the future that makes her a bit better, but it doesn't exactly like bring her into this godly meta status, but it does make her slightly better. So if you want to hold out for that, you can hold out for that. Then finally, I mean, these are more like safe options. Like Abigail's not terrible, right? But she's not great, right? Like she's kind of what I would say like the definition of like an average or like a mid servant is doing, because she's doing a lot, like kind of like a jack of trades, but like she's the master of none, right? Like she can do a lot of things, from like stunning and like refunding her NP and draining enemy NP. Like all that stuff is like really good, pretty decent for challenge quests, but she can be a little awkward to use because of how her hits work. And she can kind of be a little slow, for lack of a better term. Like you want servants that can really just pop off NP after NP after NP, because a lot of these boss battles, you can't be sitting there for like 8 turns or something. Like if you're in there for way too long, they're just gonna crush you. Like the boss is either going to debuff you way too much, or they're gonna build up and get way too strong, or in cases like the Albion boss battle, you literally just don't have 8 turns to waste. Or I guess even like the Cerberus battle, right? Like that was kind of an introduction, or the light version of the Albion battle where you're on a turn limit. So you have some bosses like that that just straight up don't even give you that amount of time. So it's just, I don't know, like she's not terrible, but you know, she's not who I would recommend you summon for, especially after doing that banner guide and kind of talking about all the crazy servants we're going to get next year. I don't really think you should be spending your Saint Quartz on Abigail unless she's like your absolute favorite character. And the same thing can be said for Semiramis. Semiramis does some interesting things, but she has like a 40% battery, which is really weird. You know what? Let me double check right now in the video, because I always think she has a 50%, but then I always get humbled. No, it's a 30%. Never mind. I was giving her a little bit too much credit, because I always think that she should have a 50% battery, but she doesn't, and it's just really weird to me. She can put in a lot of work and like challenge quests, and I guess since I have her page pulled up and not many people know what she does anyway, this right here can allow you to do really good in challenge quests, because other buster servants can take advantage of this massive 50% buster down that you're hitting the enemies with, right? It is so insane how much damage you get from that, and like really, like the 8 stars right here is nothing. She's an assassin, she can gen these stars in her sleep, right? Like it doesn't matter, she can do that in 1 brave chain. It's just the problem is that you have other servants you'd probably rather use. Like if you're looking for like a buster AoE servant, keep in mind the first GSSR banner has Ibuki, Ereshkigal, and Ishtar, and they're all going to be better for you as an AoE like buster farming person. Even in like CQs or something, with, you know, Ishtar being able to do really high damaging turns, Ereshkigal being able to protect the party and having an anti-earth special damage mod, Ibuki being anti-demonic and just being able to pierce pretty much everything. It just, you have better options to go for. So I kind of hope this helped you guys out in kind of deciding, do I want to summon for some of these servants? Really, the only ones I think are worth going for are Muramasa and Super Orion. They're really like the only 2 that are going to hold up with some of the new servants and the power level of the game going forward. Someone like Rider Alter, though, can kind of keep up if you happen to have Scotty. And Ilia, after she gets her buff, will still definitely be really, really strong. But if you really can only spend on like 2 servants, I would say go for these 2. Duh, obviously, they're both dummy broken. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys are going to be going for, because maybe we do have that one guy in the comments who's like, man, I absolutely love Semiramis. I'm going to be going balls to the wall on her banner. And you know what? If you're that guy, I hope you get Semiramis, right? I mean, it's New Year's. Well, I mean, technically her banner doesn't come out until the 4th, but it's technically the spirit of New Year's, right? I hope you get her in that spirit of the holidays. But with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. And with all that being said, peace late, guys.